Perfectionism is the biggest form of self-sabotage because it keeps us stuck, it keeps us locked, it keeps us exactly where we are. Valuing perfectionism over valuing an interesting life, valuing perfectionism over valuing a risk-free life is what is going to keep you stuck. There's no such thing as a risk-free dream, and there is no such thing as a risk-free life. We are channels for something much larger, always moving through us, and when we have an idea, that is a blessing. And when we do not take that blessing and do something with it, when we do not take that idea and act upon it, we allow it to not only be stuck in our bodies as a longing, as a yearning, as something that we haven't done that we know we should have done because it came directly to us, but we allow it to move to the next person. And yeah, is it scary to put yourself out there? Is it scary to share your art? Is it scary to start something you've never started before and you have no idea where to begin on? Abso-fucking-lutely, it is scary. But would you rather be scared and do it anyways and figure it out and stumble as you go and be kind of bad at it at first? Or would you rather never know?
But you're awakening already, right? It's already happening. That's why you're here and why you're listening.
Nothing is broken in your world. Nothing needs to be changed. Nothing needs to be different. And yet everything is constantly changing because it is the inevitable nature of that which is eternal.
What I've come to realize in this endless searching for answers is that there really are none.
If you spend your whole life trying to get your act together, then what do you have? You have an act, right? Instead of a life.
Hello everyone, and welcome back to Figuring Shit Out. My name is Vanessa Fontana. I'm your host, and if you're new here, Figuring Shit Out is a space for brave, intentional living designed to help you courageously embrace what you have figured out, to surrender to what may never be figured out, and to normalize conversation around what we all are figuring out. Welcome back. Today's episode is going to be a very short transmission on fear. On not allowing fear to bind you, not allowing it to hold you, and moving anyways. I want to begin this episode with the powerful statement that there is no such thing as a risk-free dream. There's no such thing as a risk-free dream, and there is no such thing as a risk-free life. Whenever we choose something, we forego something else. Whenever we decide to put our energy somewhere, we decide to take it from something else. And our energy is a finite resource. Our energy is not something that we have endless capacity to give. And so where we place it is important. And more often than not, many of us are placing it in the spaces and in the places that freeze us. Fear lives in a stagnant body. Fear lives in the places that we do not pay attention to. That's where it festers. That's where it feeds. And this is the first entry point into a conversation I'd like to have about perfectionism. Perfectionism is something that I know many of us pride ourselves on in a sneaky way. We tell ourselves, oh, I just want it to be perfect, and I want to be perfect, and we strive for this unrealistic ideal. But really, perfectionism is the biggest form of self-sabotage because it keeps us stuck, it keeps us locked, it keeps us exactly where we are. Valuing perfectionism over valuing an interesting life, valuing perfectionism over valuing a risk-free life, valuing perfectionism over going after what you want is what is going to keep you stuck. I know that so many of us struggle with this. I struggle with this. It is so easy to not be aware of the things that are keeping us locked, the things that are keeping us stuck, the things that are keeping us in fear. And oftentimes our fear is able to fester. Our perfectionism is able to bind us when we don't shine a light on it, when we don't make it known, when we don't speak about it, when we don't share it. Our shadow drives us before it has come to light. And it is in these dark moments that we're able to see ourselves more clearly, but we have to be willing to see our faults in order to allow these things to be let go of. I think many of us get caught up in this ideal, this version of how we want our lives to look 5 or 10 years down the road. But I had a conversation with someone earlier this week, a listener of the podcast named Erifili. She has built a business, a really successful business at 25, and she said something really powerful. I asked her the question, did you know that it was going to be successful? Like, did you have this dream for it to be successful? And she said something that really struck me, and I was sitting with it all week, which was, no. For me, it was about the next aligned step, because how do I know what I'm going to want in 5 years? How do I know what I'm going to want in 10 years? For me, the most aligned thing that I can do in building an aligned life is taking the next aligned step. And she said that the way that she runs her business is with this feminine intuition, with this understanding of what is good for me right now in this moment, rather than trying to understand or chase this ideal of perfectionism, because who knows whose dream that is? That might not even be my dream, she said. This ideal of I should be in this place in 5 years, this place in 10 years is something that might just be conditioned into me. And the only way that I can be sure of building something aligned in this moment is if I do so by being in this moment and by building it now. And it really, really struck me, because I've become guilty of chasing after that ideal, that 5-year, 10-year long dream. And it's beautiful to have those goals and to have those visions for yourself. But if you're not focused on the next aligned step, then it's never going to feel fulfilling. If we're chasing after this ideal of the future, we're not in the present moment. We're not creating from a place of true depth. And we are likely chasing a version of ourselves that we see as outside of ourselves. Something that I teach a lot in my Road Less Traveled program, which is available for purchase. If you're interested, you can DM me over Instagram. Right now, I am taking calls with people, telling people about it. I won't be doing this for that long. It's going to be officially launched very, very soon, but I digress. Something that I teach when we talk about this part of ourselves that a lot of spirituality has touted as the higher self, which is actually a very real, physical, tangible part of us. It's a version of us that has the dreams and ideals in our lives actualized, that this part of us is not outside of us. This part of us is very real. It's in the present moment. It's right now. And by taking our higher self off of the pedestal, by taking our higher self out of this idea of who we should be or what it should look like or what this version of us is in 5 years or 10 years or even 1 year from now, and by allowing that version of us to sit next to us in this moment, and by embodying the qualities and the characteristics of that version of us in the now, we are able to see that our higher self is not outside of us. Our higher self is attainable and accessible right now with the presence of our being, with the choice that we decide to make in this moment right here. And so, in alignment with what erifili said about the next aligned step, it's so similar in how we look at the things that we want to do in this life and what we feel driven to do. We have to realize that the ideas that we have are God-given. We are channels for something much larger, always moving through us. And when we have an idea, that is a blessing. That is a blessing. And when we do not take that blessing and do something with it, when we do not take that idea and act upon it, we allow it to not only be stuck in our bodies as a longing, as a yearning, as something that we haven't done that we know we should have done because it came directly to us, but we allow it to move to the next person. Have you ever had a moment of scrolling on TikTok and being like, oh my God, I thought of the melody for that song, or oh my God, I was just thinking that, or oh my God, I had that idea? Well, this is because consciousness is not singular. Consciousness is not individual. Consciousness is collective. It is shared. And there's actually a really, really wonderful podcast about this called the telepathy tapes. And it's studies as to how autistic children have the ability for different levels of consciousness and connectivity and have displayed telepathy. And it's all these studies about the telepathy tapes. It's really interesting. Most of us kind of intuit that consciousness is not singular, consciousness is shared. And so what that means is that if we are all in this collective conscious web where we are vibrating at similar and different frequencies, and your vibration attracts similar vibrations, then what's going to happen is you're going to be in the same thought webs as other people, which means that an idea is going to come to you. And if you don't act on it, it's going to go to someone else who has a similar vibrational resonance as you, and they might act on it. And so when you see something that you thought of first on the internet, it is not unlikely that that idea went from you to that other person. Or maybe you did create it, and maybe the way that it was created through you is particular and very individuated and very unique to you, and that you were the only one who could say it the way that you could say it. I mean, think about it like this. Why do you listen to Figuring Shit Out, right? because it's great. No, I mean, there's a lot of podcasts that are great. Like, there are a lot of podcasts that are essentially saying similar things along the lines that I'm saying. It's not this novel idea, a girl with a microphone in her 20s, figuring shit out, living in the city, but recording in nature, which no one has said anything about. I think is interesting that I live in New York City, but every week I'm out here like in the woods. And I feel like it's a fun little antidote of figuring shit out. It makes it really special and fun because I do spend my time in the city, but I record in the woods. Like, how do I do that? Stay tuned and maybe you'll be let into that mystery. But anyways, why do you listen to figuring shit out? What is it about figuring shit out that is special, that is particular? I don't know. You like something about me. You like something about the way that I deliver information. There's something special about the way that I do it. And this is the same for you. You can do the same thing as someone else. Like, it's not novel. It's not new. It's not particularly interesting, but the way that you do it is a way that no one else can do it. And that is a gift, and that is a blessing, and that is needed. Your ability to see your creation and your action as necessary is important. It's very, very important that you see your words, you see your art, you see your being as necessary. It's not just a nice luxury to have. It's not just something that's cool to do. It's not just something that you should do. No, it's necessary. It's needed. The world needs it. You can have an idea and someone else can have that same exact idea, but only you can say the words that you can say the way that you can say them. And the other person, they will say the words that they can say in the way that they can say them. And maybe your mediums are different, and maybe they're meant to reach different people, to inspire art, to inspire creativity, to inspire courage in others in that same way. So we are here in this collective consciousness, all together, all here creating, but our individual contribution to the collective consciousness is inherently important, or else energy gets stuck, it gets stagnant, it gets manipulated into something that we feel stifled by because we're not expressed. Being able to move, being able to express, being able to fully be yourself, which has been such a beautiful topic of season 4. And also, thank you guys so much for the support on season 4, your comments, you're following the podcast, you're sharing the podcast, you're telling people about it, you're following the Instagram, following along on my journey. It means the absolute world. I love that you are part of this beautiful web of mastery that we are creating together, because this is a co-creative space as well. And so I really just wanted to let you know that it is okay to not know how to begin, but you must begin, and urge you, transmit to you this knowledge that your gifts, your words, your being, it is necessary. It is your duty, it is your obligation, but you shouldn't be suppressed by it. You should be freed by it. Your voice is important in this world of so many voices. And it's so easy to get bogged down and to think, oh, I shouldn't, or I'm scared to be seen, or I'm scared to be perceived. But truly, there's no such thing as a risk-free dream, and there's no such thing as a risk-free life, because the less that you express yourself is the more that you risk never being yourself. And yeah, is it scary to put yourself out there? Is it scary to share your art? Is it scary to start something you've never started before and you have no idea where to begin on? Abso-fucking-lutely, it is scary. But would you rather be scared and do it anyways and figure it out and stumble as you go and be kind of bad at it at first? Or would you rather never know? Would you rather sit exactly where you are and be in the same exact space as you were in 1 year from now? Would you rather fuck around and find out and begin? Or would you rather stay exactly where you are and stifle yourself and suppress yourself and get to the end of your life and say, wow, I didn't do much with it? That's an existential fear that so many of us have. And this fear can be so existential because in this world where we're seeing the love and the hatred and just everything in between, where we have such access to it, we feel completely burdened and overwhelmed by this existentialism that suppresses us. The only way that we can allow it to not suppress us is if we use our voice the way that they are desiring to be used. And we have to get out of our own way to do that. You need to get over yourself. You need to begin. You need to put this perfectionism in a little tiny box and send it away for just a moment. You need to talk to that part of you and ask it what it is so scared of beginning, what it is so scared of starting, why it feels this massive pressure to be this amazing, perfect thing. The only way you'll ever be incredible, the only way you'll ever be great is if you're not great at something. You specifically, your words are necessary. Your presence is a gift. In order for you to build any creative self-worth, you have to believe that first. Perfectionism will always keep you safe. but you were never meant to live a safe life. You were never meant to stay safe. You were never meant to stay small. There really is no how to. It's like, you know what you're not doing, and you know that there's fear stuck inside of your body that has to be moved through. So the first step is really asking yourself the question, what are you so scared of? And admitting to yourself what you are so scared of. Earlier this week, I had this deep fear start arising in me. This feeling of, I know that there's something that I'm not doing, that I need to be doing, that I'm putting off. And this deep fear about the fact that I have taken this massive risk of quitting a full-time job 1 year ago now. So I didn't crash and burn. That was really the major fear, was that I was going to crash and burn and everything in my life was going to go to shit and I was going to go broke. That was the major fear. I'm kind of over that one because it's been a whole year now. But I took this massive risk of leaving something safe, leaving something stable, leaving a life that I kind of knew what was going to happen and I knew how it was going to go, and it, was fine. It was fine. I could still create on the side, but I just knew that it was just not what my heart was calling me to, and that putting energy towards something that didn't make me feel alive was killing my life force. I knew that. And I knew that the more that I spent the time there, the less that I spent the time in where I did feel alive. I took this massive risk, quitting my job, going to Bali, having someone live in my room for 2 months that I didn't know because I needed to pay my rent and they were paying my rent while I was away. Coming back and figuring it out, building a business, learning what it means to be a guide, a lead, a teacher, embracing that, allowing myself to see myself as necessary, to see my words as necessary, to see my art not as something that was just a fun little extension of me, but something that deserved to be seen by the world, something that I deserved to have access to create, to take part in, and co-create with the world around me. I took this massive risk, right? And a year later, here I am, knowing so much more than I knew before, knowing so much more about fear, but yet still feeling fear, still feeling the overwhelming fear of, oh my God, what if I never actually get this off the ground? What if I never actually figure this shit out? What if? All of these fears, and it was up to me to talk to that part of myself and say, hey, I got you. And hey, what are you scared of? And to admit it. And what ended up happening is I shared this with my partner. I shared this with one of my closest friends, the things that I was struggling with, the fears that I was facing, this feeling of procrastination, this feeling of avoiding these fears, because that's what we do. We're going to avoid. We're going to get ourselves really, really busy in order to not face ourselves. We're going to procrastinate with research and with, oh, I'll get to that. And with, oh, yeah, I haven't done that. I should probably do that. Knowing all the while that the reason we're not acting is actually because we're scared, is actually because we want it to be perfect, is actually because we don't have the answers that we think we need in order to begin something, when really the only way that you find the answers that you need is by beginning. You have to not know in order to know. And so I shared what I was going through with my partner, with a very close friend, and me sharing with my partner led to this really amazing discussion between us of, we are both in the same boat, and I need what you have and you need what I have, and we are actually aligned and destined to be on this path together. And this feeling of, okay, I might not know, but I'm not alone in that, and that feels good, and that feels like enough to help me keep going. And that is what figuring shit out is about. That is what this space is for, is you don't have to know. I don't know. And I'm still here, and I'm still going to show up every single Sunday, and I'm still going to sometimes have a prepared thing to say to you, and other times sit down with 20 minutes left of sunlight to transmit something that's just going to come through me. I'm still going to show up. And that is what true fearlessness is. Fearlessness is an unrealistic and unattainable ideal. You will never not have fear. Fearlessness is not the absence of fear. Fearlessness is having the fear and doing it anyways. It's doing it scared. It's saying yes, even if there's a risk, especially when there's a risk. It's learning the feeling in your body of what happens when fear arises, and learning to be safe in that feeling and say, oh my God, this means that it's important. Excitement will disguise itself as fear. Importance will disguise itself as fear. Fear is just something that arises when we have reached the unknown and when we don't have certainty. And so many of us have learned to fear that, to run away from it, to avoid it. we are conditioned to not take the risks. But in the risks, you find the greatest joy. You find the deepest parts of yourself, and you find other people who are doing the same things. When I shared this with my partner and with a very close friend, it felt so aligned because my partner is also following his dreams, and my very close friend is also following her dreams. We are all taking massive risks. We are all making massive sacrifices. We are all sacrificing the certainty, the comfortability, the stability of a life that could be really well written for us in order to do something that follows our heart's calling, follows our heart's joy. And when you are in spaces with other people who are doing that, you can't not face yourself. You have to look at yourself in the mirror. And when you bring to someone else the fears that you have, they are able to then hold the space for you so much deeper because they know it. They're going through it. And so I want to offer you a spot in my community if this is something that you feel like you don't have. I want to offer you a spot in my Costa Rica retreat if you are interested in that, because this is a space of people who are following their dreams, who are following their road less traveled, who are taking one step at a time towards a path that is aligned to them and not what society thinks is right for them and not what life tells them they should be doing. And so if the community space sounds interesting to you, if the Costa Rica retreat in March is calling to you, we are going to be deepening into our creativity. We are going to be deepening into our relationship with our inner child while in community. And it's going to be such a beautiful in-person shared experience with one another. It is all women, and it is so beautiful. I am so excited to guide it, to lead it. I'm going to be guiding heart-opening sessions. I'm going to be guiding inner child's connection. I'm going to be guiding community. There's going to be a lot of facilitation of connection with one another, but then also just a beautiful amount of time to go into introspection as well, go into your inner world as well. And then we will also be doing waterfall hikes, and we'll have a local guide who will take us around Costa Rica. So there's just all of these beautiful moments of this retreat that are going to entail love within the self, love within community, and love within nature, love within the elements of something outside of us. So if it sounds interesting to you, there are still spots left. I would absolutely love to have you. You still have some time to book until the end of the year. So if you're interested and you want to chat about Costa Rica, reach out to me, and I am more than happy to talk to you about it and give you some more insight into what it's going to look like. But I invite you into these spaces so that you know that if you are struggling to find yourself in others, in the mirror of others, if you are struggling to really have the aligned community that you're craving, then I have a spot for you somewhere in the offerings that are being continued and co-created in my repertoire, in my vault of things. And if this podcast is just something that makes you feel less alone, then I'm honored to have you here. So I just want to let you know that that is what this space is for, and that if you want to continue deepening that journey, that exists as well. But when you share with others, when you bring light to the fears, you allow yourself to be seen. And it was the bravest thing that I could do, was just admit that, hey, this is how I'm feeling, and bring it to the table and put words to it, because little did I know that other people were feeling the exact same way and didn't know how to put words to it. And my partner said something really, really special to me, and it was so serious. And that is what I'm here to tell you as well. He said, it's not just about, oh, should I say this thing? You know, I can probably journal about it. I can probably talk to myself about it. I can probably talk to this person about it. No, no, no. I need your words. Your words are necessary. I've been feeling this all along, but I couldn't put words to it. This is a very specific and distinct gift that I have, this deep self-awareness, and then this deep ability to communicate that self-awareness. It's why I have a fucking podcast that another person doesn't have. And it's the self-worth, it's the creative self-worth to realize that the gifts that you have, they're special. They're designed specifically from the product of a life that you have lived, only you have lived. They are designed specifically from an amalgamation of your experiences, of the family that brought you up, of the childhood that you had, of the healing that you've had to go through, of the love that you've experienced. Your gifts are a beautiful distinct, unique expression of you, and they are necessary. You are necessary. Your words are necessary. So let this short episode serve to you as a first stop, a first step on your way out of perfectionism. What are you scared of? What can you admit that you are scared of? And what can you share with someone else? Is there one person in your life who you feel comfortable sharing your fears with and allowing the other person to hold that space for you and say, I see you, and it's going to be okay? Because oftentimes that is all that we need. Oftentimes all that we need is someone to just say, me too. And then suddenly it's a lot easier to move forward. Fear cannot live in a moving body. And a moving body can mean self-expression through the form of words to another person, alchemy in a conversation that you have with another person. We don't talk enough about how we alchemize when we feel safe enough to share and we feel heard and listened to. That is alchemy. That is energetic transmutation of something coming through us. And that is so special through art, right? Through the expression of what wants to come through us in an artistic way that we might not understand, that we might not validate as important. But it is important. It's more than important. It's necessary. It is necessary. Make it exist, then make it good. Make it exist, then make it good. If you wait until the perfect time to start, if you wait until you have all the necessary information, if you wait until you've researched everything and you know everything, you are going to be waiting forever. You must do it now. You must do it when it comes to you. You must do it when you feel the urge to do it in the first place. You must not write it on your list for something to do later unless you really are going to do it later. You must do it now. What are you putting off? What are you allowing to fester inside of you? You have one life. Let me remind you, you have one life. I said this last episode. I'll say it again. I'll say it again and again and again, because I want you to know that your presence, your words, the effect that you can have specifically on the humanity around you. If you're listening to this podcast, I know that you care about that. It is necessary. It is only something that you can do, and it is infinitely important. This is part one of a series that I didn't even know was going to be created until I sat down here today. This is part one of allowing yourself to move through these fears, giving yourself the space to remember that fearlessness is not the absence of fear. Fearlessness, the closest thing to it is the presence of trust, the presence of courage, the ability to move anyways. And the more that you step out of your comfort zone, the more that you reach the upper echelon of expansion and tell yourself it is safe to do so, the more that that fear becomes less and less important. You're not doing something because you're scared and that's your excuse. You need to look deeper. You need to ask yourself what you're really scared of. You need to talk to that part of yourself. You need to hold space for that part of yourself. You need to have some compassion for yourself for not doing the thing, and then you need to do the thing. If you want to do something, if you have an urge to do something, if you know you should do something, but the answer that you give, if I ask you why you're not doing it, is, I'm scared, you need to go deeper. It is important that you go deeper. It is necessary that you go deeper because your gifts, your words, your art is necessary. That's all I have for you guys today. Thank you guys so much for listening. I'm so excited to be on this journey with you. If you liked this episode, please leave a comment, follow the podcast, share it with a friend. I love reading your comments. They mean the world to me. Even just I loved this episode, this resonated, is more than enough to support the show. And if you're interested in any of the things that I mentioned in this episode, any of my offerings, they're going to be linked down below with how you can access them. Make sure you sign up for the mailing list for new news. And remember, if you spend your whole life trying to get your act together, you don't have a life, you have an act. So go and live your fucking life. I love you so much, and I'll see you next week.
You got to look for the redeeming feature. You got to look for things to appreciate. You got to find a reason to make it okay where you are. No, I've got to strive and struggle and try. That's what I've been taught. Growth and expansion is my quest. No, that's inevitable. Whether it comes easy or hard is the question.
The horrible truth is that it's an inside job. That if you're going to get that love and that respect that you've just that connect, that union starts inside.
To every experience of growth, there is an equal and an opposite. And that equal and an opposite is what drives you to that light. So you have to start inwards. You have to start first within yourself.